But let's get to it. Let's get to this idea of family healing. Show of hands, how many of you, like if you look over the last year, have already experienced some family healing? Okay? Look at those hands if you're not there yet and say, okay, it's already happening and it's worth it. But here's where we're going to start. When I give this material, there's a thing I do when I'm interviewing people or they're interviewing me, and I like to go, so tell me about your family. Right. Exactly. You see this expression and you hear this response and it's like, wow, that's complicated. Now, it's different. Like if you ask grandparents, tell me about your grandkids, it's kind of the same question, but you get a completely different response. Or if you ask parents, tell me about your kids. Or, okay, kids, tell me about your parents, that gets closer. But when you say, tell me about your family, you get this mix of, yeah, it's complicated. There's some good, but it's not all good. There are people who like the secret to happiness, family. If I could, be married and have kids, yes, then I would be happy. Yes, but what else will you be? Angry, frustrated, sleep deprived, guilty, all of those things that you feel. Family is that mixed blessing. So we have to come to this concept of family pain. And have you ever heard a doctor say this? Okay, hold still. This is going to hurt a little. I'm just giving you that up front. Hold still. Some of this is going to hurt a little. Life is pain, Highness. Anyone who says differently is selling something. Anybody know the movie? Yes! Yeah. Everything in life, I think, can be explained by quotes from Princess Bride. So I had to throw one of them in there. This is just an observation. Life begins with labor and pain. How do you know there's a new life coming into the world? Labor, pain.
50% of us.
And that, from what I hear...
Yeah.
No, 100% of us came into the world.
Yes.
Yeah, 50% of us had to pick up the tab. Okay? So life begins with labor and pain, and that never changes. And it's like, well, can I get to a life that is free of labor and hard work and pain? No. Labor and pain is the price of admission to life. Now, is it worth it? Let me ask you this question. And I have to ask you guys because I have no tattoos at all. So for the people that have tattoos, from what I hear, it hurts.
Doesn't tickle.
Okay, it hurts kind of. And the good ones are fairly expensive. So if it's fairly expensive and it hurts, I assume you just do it once. No. Okay? You know it's expensive, you know it's difficult, you know it's going to hurt, and yet you do it. And then do it again, and then do it again. Why?
It's beautiful, man.
I like it, it's beautiful, it's worth it. If it wasn't worth it, you wouldn't do it again. But it's like you go through the pain, you go through the discomfort, you pay the money, you look at it and go, oh yeah, worth it. And for the people nodding, do you know what your next one's going to be? Yeah. There are like two people who are always one step ahead. Motorcycle people with chrome. Anytime they show you, hey, we just chromed this, it's like, oh, what are you going to chrome next? They know. And then people with tattoos, it's like, hey, this is my brand new, tattoo. And it's like, oh, that's gorgeous. Do you know which one you're going to get next? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's always there. So if you take that principle and apply it to family, some of what we have to do in order for family to heal is difficult and painful. And some of it you do, and it's worth it, and so you do it again. So do you get to escape pain? No, you get to choose. your pain. And here's the choice, and this is specific to this community: choosing the pain of recovery or the pain of addiction. Okay? Either path, there is pain involved. What nobody, and I don't have a recovery story, so I don't know anything about recovery. I know a bit about sobriety. You know, I know, like, going through and making really stupid mistakes, and people go, "Were you drinking?" And going, "Nope." My judgment's that bad when I'm sober. It's like, "Yeah, you probably shouldn't drink." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're probably right." So it's like, if you choose recovery, is that going to hurt? Oh, yeah. You're going to have to feel things that you've not felt before, that you've not wanted to feel before. You're going to have to go through things, and your main path of escape has been cut off. And so rather than escape it, you're going to have to go through it. That is intensely painful. Okay? But when you look at it and it's like, which am I going to choose, the pain of recovery or the pain of addiction? Here's how it works. In recovery, the pain decreases and the joy increases over time. So when you're starting your recovery journey, is it going to be awkward and difficult and painful? Yes, but over time, that goes down. And the joy and the contentment and the peace and the happiness and the satisfaction, that goes up over time. In addiction, the pain increases and the joy decreases. So at the point where you're at the brink and going, "I can't handle this. I don't want to feel this. I know how to feel better immediately." Yeah. But that good feeling over time is going to diminish, and the pain of it is going to increase. Those are the options. So what does joy look like? And I chose the word joy on purpose. We talk about happiness. We talk about peace, contentment, satisfaction. But I have this picture. Okay, that is my granddaughter. Now, this is a picture of her joy, but it is also a picture of my joy. Okay? If you want this, if you want the family time, being together, enjoying special events, recovery will give you this. Addiction will not. Addiction will take this. And so when it comes to which pain am I going to choose, am I going to choose the pain of recovery or the pain of addiction? If this is what you were looking for and what you want or what you had and lost and want back, then that you have to choose the pain of recovery. I used to work in a music store. People would come in and go, "Oh, I want to learn to play guitar." Say, "Oh, you want the quick, easy, painless method?" Yeah, there's not one.
We're out of there.
Yeah, where you're going to have to put in the work and the time. You're going to have to build up the calluses. It's going to hurt for a while, and then the longer you do it, the better you will get at it and the less it will hurt. That's the model we're looking at. The idea is this: emotional pain won't kill you, but trying to get rid of it might. Okay, let that sink in. It is the avoidance strategies. Like, what am I doing to get rid of the pain? That can be fatal. The emotional pain, you can get through that. So before we talk about healing relationships, we have to talk about our own emotional healing. And the best way that I can describe emotional healing is to describe it in terms of physical healing, because they're actually very similar processes. The difference is, if you have been physically injured, we'll tell that story. You know, you come to the hospital and you come out with a cast. "Oh, you have a cast. Tell me what happened." You know, and it's, "Can I sign it?" So a physical injury, people get involved, they're supportive, they get closer to you. Emotional injury, emotional trauma, doesn't work the same way. They're like, "Oh, yeah, that was a bad event. You're hurting emotionally." And people tend to draw away rather than draw towards you. But the process of emotions healing is very similar to the process of physical healing. So let me tell you a story. I had my Achilles tendon ruptured when I was in about 5th grade. We had like a lawn tractor, and we had tied little wagons behind it, and we were hauling around, and I was one of the bigger kids. So I was jumping from wagon to wagon to wagon to wagon, and I missed. And my foot went down between the wagons, and one of them rammed right into the back of my heel. Didn't hurt, oddly enough. It was just a little confusing because I got up and I tried to walk, and it was like, wow, that just feels weird. It didn't puncture a major blood vessel, didn't sever a major nerve, so there wasn't the pain, there wasn't a lot of blood, there was just a hole in the back of my foot. So I kind of walked back up to the house, kind of awkwardly to the grown-ups and said, yeah, this happened, and they're looking at it and they're going, yeah, we're gonna need to go to the emergency room. So we went to the emergency room, and I can remember the doctor holding my foot like this. I can't, let's see if I can balance here. It's a new yoga pose, what do you think? Wounded warrior, is that one? But the doctor held me like this, he said, okay, raise your foot. And my brain was going, okay, foot, go up. And the foot wasn't moving. And that was very confusing. It was like, what's happening? My foot doesn't work. That's not good. So they said, yeah, we're going to have to take you into surgery because tendons, if they're severed, they start to retract and you can't leave them. So they took me right in, put me under anesthesia, didn't want to be awake for the surgery, stretched it, reattached it, put it in a cast. Okay. That was my summer. I think it was about 10 weeks in that cast, working with crutches. That was not the hard part. The hard part was when the cast came off, and I had to learn to walk again. Okay? And the tendon had been constricted a little bit, and it had retracted, so my leg was in that shape, and it was like, yeah, we're going to need physical therapy to straighten that out a little bit so you'll be able to walk again. Our insurance didn't cover a physical therapist. My physical therapist was my dad, who was a Marine. They have a different relationship to pain. Okay, he was okay with me hating him, but he was going to make sure I walked again. So we did physical therapy at home. And anybody been through physical therapist? Yeah, those people are interesting. Ow, that really hurts. Yeah, a little more. Come on, give me more. Yeah, give me more. Ow, give me more. I hate you. Yeah, that's fine. You'll love me later. Keep working. Okay? That's how physical therapy works. So eventually we got that thing straightened out. I did the what we call the wedding walk because I could put this one forward, but I couldn't stretch it that way. So I spent the summer, walking like this, the whole time, just because that was the best I could do. Now, that was, 45 years ago? Is it healed? Yes. Is it exactly like it would have been had the injury not occurred? No. Okay? Sometimes if I get tired, I still limp. Sometimes if the seasons change, I can feel it. There is a scar. I'm not one of those, hey, want to see my scar kind of people, but there is a scar there. Okay? That's how physical healing takes place. So could I do everything I could do before? Yes. Can I dance? No. But that has nothing to do with the injury. I just can't dance. So if we go through that physical process and then compare it to emotions, emotions are going to go through the same process. All of the emotional pain, the trauma, the rejection, the loneliness, the abuse, the disappointment, all of that emotional pain that you have associated with family, that needs to heal. So where do we start? Okay, we assess the damage. When they looked at it, there was like, yeah, there's been an injury. Are you okay? If somebody gets the wind knocked out of them physically, are you okay? When you are emotionally wounded, that's the first thing, assess the damage. I just had a coworker who went through a traumatic event. It hit some triggers from the past, And it was like, are you okay? That was a lot to go through. And she was able to say, no, I'm not okay. And it's like, okay, go home, take care of yourself. We'll check on you. We want to make sure that you're okay. But the first thing to do with that emotional injury and trauma is to go, no, I'm not okay. That really hurt. That really messed me up. I'm not going to get over this very quickly. That was a severe injury. You don't pretend like it didn't happen. You acknowledge that it did happen. So you assess the damage. Next, there's a little bit of a time of shock. I think I was in shock when I walked back and wasn't feeling the pain. And the body will do that for you. The body will go, yeah, you don't want to feel this. We're just going to shut down. If you've ever seen somebody that was in an accident and then they were in shock, and it's like, okay, we got to get you reoriented. In some ways, emotionally, when something really bad happens, when there's a deep, serious emotional wound, you're going to go into shock. And it's like, no, I feel fine. And that's where you want the supportive people around you going, you may think you're fine. You may feel like you're fine. You're in emotional shock. Okay? The grieving process. Okay, I'm fine. And it's like, no, you're not. Still in the denial stage. And then at some point, something happens and that wears off and you feel it. So you can expect, in the case of an emotional trauma, there's a little bit of a shock period where you block the pain, where you feel like you're okay, but you've been injured. Next, you got to go into surgery. Surgery actually treats the wound. I was watching, anybody, NCIS fans? Okay. Gibbs has 2 therapists now, doesn't? Yes, which I think is beautiful. And we were watching one of the episodes and he said, broken bones heal crooked. At some point, you got to get in and look at what was damaged, look what was wounded, and open it up, clean it out, set it, and let it heal. That is excruciatingly painful. If you have a good therapist, a good friend, a good support group that you can be honest with, and you're going, oh, I know that happened, but it's no big deal. And they're going, no, we got to go there. Maybe not now, maybe not today, maybe you're still in shock, but someday you got to go there. You got to look at it, acknowledge what's there, open it up, clean it out, and let it heal. After that happens, it's a good idea to immobilize it. When your emotions have been injured, it's a good idea to protect them for a while. It's why a lot of people go when you're in recovery or just coming off a bad relationship, or it's like, now's not a good time to get into a new relationship. Let's give those emotions a little bit of a time to heal. Let's protect them. Like, yeah, I just need some time. I just need some space. Not forever, but right now, I'm going to put a cast. I'm going to protect. I'm going to support. I'm going to close up a little bit. Where I work, we've started calling it turtling, which doesn't have the, I guess that's a video game thing. I don't know anything about that. I know more about turtles than I do video games. But a turtle, when it feels threatened, is going to pull inside its shell. That makes perfect sense. So if you are that person or you are supporting that person and they feel threatened and they just pull inside that shell where they're safe and protected and you can't reach them, that's okay. They need to do that. But when you pull inside your shell to protect yourself and you're safe and you're that place where nobody can touch you, you can't live there. You can't eat there. You can't get anywhere. Eventually, you're going to have to come out a little bit and say, okay, I'm going to poke my head out. Is it safe? Is it okay? Who's around me? Can I make progress? And then if you get startled, you pull back in. And then when it feels safe, you come back out. That's a good process. That's healthy. Physical therapy, got to do the work. Emotional therapy, same thing. But we view them differently. If you go to physical therapy, it's like, hey, I want to be able to walk again. So I know this is going to hurt. I'm going to put the work in. I'm going to do it. Emotional therapy, you're sitting with a therapist and they're going, okay, so when you were a child, it's like, nope, don't want to talk about that. Okay, so we're going to have to talk about your ex. Nope. Don't want to talk about that. Not going to do it. Okay, we're just going to shut down. We're going to protect that. We're not going to let it happen. It's like, but that's where the injury is. If you go to a doctor, and last time I was at a doctor was for a shoulder. He goes, okay, we're going to go range of motion. Does this hurt? No. Okay, how about this? No, that doesn't hurt. How about this? Ow! Wait, does this hurt? Ow, yeah, that really hurts. Okay, so I'm going to push on this, and I want you to tell me how much it hurts. I'm like, what's wrong with you? You're a doctor, you know. I didn't come here for you to hurt me. I came here for healing. It's like, no, we're going to follow the pain. We're going to find out the extent of the injury. So the assessment is going to hurt, and then the therapy is probably going to hurt as well. Okay? Or the outpatient surgery, and it's like, okay, so ibuprofen. You know, you're going to feel this. When you go to the dentist, and you get the Novocaine, you know, it's like, do you want Novocaine? It's like, do people say no to that? You know, no, just drill me, I'm fine. Yeah, okay. What do you want when the Novocaine hits? You're like, more Novocaine, more Novocaine. I don't want to feel this. And then when it comes in, what do you want? You want the Novocaine to wear off so that you can eat again. You know, then you feel it starting, you start to get feeling back, and then you discover, oh shoot, the numbness is gone. The pain is back. Then you have to find, okay, so I don't need more Novocaine, but I do need something, and it will get better. So when you are talking with a therapist, when you're going to your support group, whoever it is that you're honest with and they're honest with you, you got to do the work. Awkward, uncomfortable, painful, but necessary for healing. Last step, acceptance. Hey, that injury happened, and we can't change the past. Here's what acceptance looks like. There are scars. Everybody gets scars. You don't get through life. We have physical scars. We have emotional scars. They're part of who we are. I don't do a lot of preaching, but it's interesting. Doubting Thomas. Hey, Jesus is back down. Like, yeah, I don't believe it. Unless I see him, I'm not going to believe it. Jesus goes, okay, challenge accepted. I'm here. Thomas is like, wow, I know it's you because of the scars. Okay, resurrected, back from the dead, still has the scars for the identification. In our group, sometimes when somebody goes, no, I don't believe you, and they go, oh no, I've got scars. Yeah. I was talking to a kid at work today on the inpatient unit, and she was like, oh my gosh, how do you know what I'm thinking? Like, how do you think? Really? It's like, yeah, that commonality, that having been through it and survived and sharing how you did it, that's part of the process. There are seasons with emotional wounds. You'll be doing good for a while, then there's a holiday, an anniversary, a birthday, and something brings it back, and the wound is healed, but it still hurts. That happens with emotional wounds and limitations. Yeah, there are things that for people that have trust issues. Okay, people who don't like to get close to people who don't like new settings. It's like, yeah, so I've got some emotional wounds. I'm doing pretty well, but I still have some things that are really difficult because of the past injuries. That's part of the healing process. To summarize that, after an injury, things can be good again. I'm going to get better. I'm going to work at this. I'm going to put in the thing. I'm going to let other people help me. I'm going to take the medication. I'm going to do what I have to do. Things are going to be good again. Sometimes they can even be better than they were before. The injured leg, because of the therapy, for me, is actually stronger than the other one because of the work that was put into it. So they can be good again. They can be better than they were before, but they won't be the same. If you look at the back of my two legs, you can tell which one was injured and which one wasn't. And so emotional healing works the same way. It can be good again. It might even be better than it was before, but it won't be the same.